Hey everybody, Andy Kvernen with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. Last night I was with my family. I'd come home from doing some errands. I was in the kitchen getting some food ready, and in the other room the Oscars were on the TV. And at one point there was this awkward pause in the broadcast that was sort of inexplicable. And so I went in and we hit rewind and watched, and what happened was that the MC of the event was roasting the actors in the audience. And that's typical, right? They're picking at them, they're making fun of them. That's part of the shtick of the Oscars event, and that's just what happens. Well, at one point, the MC got a little too close to home on one of the actors' wives. And so, surprisingly, that actor got up out of his chair, walked on the stage, and cold-cocked the guy right in the face. He punched him. He slapped him. It looked like a punch to me. They said this morning in the news it was a slap, but if I've seen a punch, that was one. and here, this surprising, in this black tie event where everybody's in gowns and tuxedos, this incredibly uncommon, unexpected thing happens. Somebody gets up, loses control, and punches a guy in the face like they're in some bar in downtown Chicago or wherever else. I mean, it was crazy. And it reminds me of the stark contrast between the expectations of the kingdom of God and the expectations of the kingdom of this world. And here's this event where everybody's puffing each other up. They're all telling each other how great they are, and they're all experiencing, for some of them, the best night of their lives as they make these acceptance speeches. And yet, there's such emptiness underneath where one joke turns into a brawl, a fight. And it just displays some of the emptiness of the pursuits of this world. And of course, Jesus understood this, right? Jesus taught that the ways of the world are not the ways of the kingdom of God. And so we should avoid the ways of the world and instead pursue the ways of the kingdom. And in Luke chapter 6, we really capture this theme, this idea. And so I want to start to you about verse 24, and then I want to go through 31, and I think you'll see the correlation here. In Luke chapter 6, verse 24, Jesus says, "But woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your comfort. Woe to you who are well fed now, for you will go hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, for that is how their ancestors treated the false prophets." Okay? Jesus is saying, look, for you who have your reward in this life, you who are well-fed, who are rich, who are well-known, you who perhaps are getting an Oscar. Not that there's anything innately wrong with earning an Oscar as an actor. I mean, that is a big accomplishment. But woe to you who place all of your stock, all of your value in what you have now. It's not going to go well for you. But in contrast, listen to what he says, starting in verse 27. "But to you who are listening, I say," meaning his disciples. He knows that people who are listening to his voice want to at least consider what he's saying. So he says, but to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to anyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. See the contrast? The world says, look, if you insult me, if you insult my wife, guess what? You're going to get what's coming to you. The way of the kingdom of God, the way of the kingdom of Jesus says, look, if somebody insults you, if they hurt you, if they take your cloak, well, give it to them. Turn the other cheek. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Now, as I read that, it's easy for me on this platform on a Monday morning, the Sunday after, the Monday after the Oscars, looking back on what I saw to say, well, see all those actors, all those A-listers, they don't get it. They're a mess. They're a bunch of hypocrites. They're fake, and of course they would do something like that. That's the narrative that could easily play in my head, and in fact, if I'm honest, has in the last 12 hours or so. And here's the reality. How many times have I had an opportunity to turn the other cheek, but instead have gotten angry? And I may not have walked up on stage at the Oscars and hit somebody in the face. I guess I haven't done that. That's true. And yet in my heart, I'm wanting to do that. And I'm doing it as an attitude, as an act of my spirit, even if it isn't an act of my body. Friends, it's easy to point out everybody else who doesn't turn the other cheek. But here's the point of this passage. What are you doing when people insult you? when people persecute you, when people take from you? Are you willing to be like Jesus? Are you willing to act sacrificially towards them as a servant leader, as a person of humility? Or are you going to try to get what's yours? Friends, that's what convicts me as I read this passage today. Perhaps it does you. And I wonder if we can be the kind of people that are of the kingdom of God, not of the kingdom of this world. And I wonder how the world will take notice. They certainly noticed last night at the Oscars when it went the way it did. Friends, I think the world's going to notice even more, and the impact's going to be even more profound as God's people represent Jesus in the world around them. I pray you'll do that, and I pray that I'll do that as well. God bless you, friends, and Lord willing, we'll see you again soon on the Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional.